Hello and welcome to Off Screen. I'm Van Connor.
And I'm Becks Perfect. And Off Screen is your 7-day guide to everything movies. Boom.
Except it isn't this week, really. We're doing Freeview, and we're doing streaming, and we're doing home releases, video on demand, DVD. But of course, we, like every other show in the world, have to acknowledge certain realities and certain global events that can't really be ignored. So, of course, we're not recording this in the same room for the very first time.
No, we're taking advantage of technology, doing this remotely. We hope you guys don't see too much of a difference with this. We're still bringing you all that great content. But actually, it's all focused on what you can do by sitting in the comfort of your own home. Or
exactly.
Discomfort, should we say. It's only like, day 3, and we're already getting a bit antsy.
It's day 3 of self-isolation, and I'm going insane. I mean, I've gone the full Forgetting Sarah Marshall spectrum already. I've reached the you shall not pass phase.
Are you going the Seth Rogen? Is it Seth Rogen who's had a lot of fun with cats recently?
Oh God, yes, Seth Rogen. That made my day. So Seth Rogen chose to embrace his self-isolation by, I believe, getting baked and live tweeting cats, which is incredible.
I mean, the fact that he's got access to cats already is quite something.
Well, I think they'd have rushed it out, haven't they? I think so. But anyway, we need to get on to the things because obviously, coronavirus, lockdown everywhere you go, panic buying. Which stop that, please. That's
yes,
not
please
good form.
Stop. I can't get stuff to my mum at the moment, so guys, think about everyone else, not just yourselves.
Also, I can't get toilet paper, and I've had to cut fibre from my diet completely. So, Okay, so obviously we can't predict when the world will return to normal. I mean, we hope it will.
Yeah, absolutely. But what is interesting, and this is something that we might bring to you in later shows, is the fact that studios are diversifying. They are releasing a lot of their recent cinematic releases onto video on demand a little bit earlier. So we'll be able to keep you guys updated on all of that as and when we get more information.
Yeah, I mean, our streaming section is going to be astronomical going forward. Silver lining. But obviously we can't review new theatrical movies as such because the cinemas have shut down at the time of recording this. I believe they shut down, is it to yesterday or today?
2 days ago. And actually, Van and I, very optimistically, at the very beginning of this week, went in to go and see a release waiting, that's due out this Friday. And with all best intentions, we thought it still would. We thought maybe the cinemas would hold on just for this weekend and that this might be the last week that we'll be able to put out some cinema content. But no, we got the call the day after.
So, we won't get to tell you about Rosamund Pike playing Marie Curie and discovering and inventing radiation. That's a thing we won't get to talk about. We don't get to talk about The Jesus Rolls, which I was looking forward to. That's a Big Lebowski sequel as well. That one I had high hopes for. Whether or not it met those high hopes, we'll have to save for when it's actually released, I guess.
Hey, it's all up there, all ready and raring to go when the release happens. We've got it stored in our infinite movie brains.
Are you a note taker as well? I can't remember. Do you take notes in screenings?
Do you know what? I write down my notes on my way home.
I try to take during. But because I like the fun of having to decipher them afterwards.
You just like annoying people with your pens and stuff whilst whilst we're all trying to focus.
No.
Have you got one of those pens with the lights?
I was going to say no. That's Alan Frank who still does that. Our good friend Mr. Alan Frank there. But like I say, we don't know when the world will return to normal. We don't know particularly what we're going to do with this show. I mean, we're going to see how this recording goes. We might carry it on in a stripped down, home focused. We could call it home screen for a few weeks.
Home screen, yeah.
We could do that.
Let's do that. But let us know what you guys think. Like, let us know on Instagram, let us know on Twitter. Just keep in contact. Let us know what you want to hear more of. Maybe this will just help keep you guys sane whilst you're in self-isolation for just a little bit longer.
Absolutely. Like I say, there's tons of great stuff. I don't know if you've been asked to do this as well, Bex. Have you been asked to do any remote radio slots talking about things on streaming and the like?
Have been doing it all this morning. So I did a FaceTime call-in to the BBC this morning so that I could see the presenter, we could still converse. And that went really, really well. The only thing I couldn't do was actually hear the bed tracks, so didn't know when to come in. But you know what? We're all adapting. And then, yeah, my talk radio breakfast slot this morning. I know that the presenter, Julia Hartley-Brewer, I believe she is also in self-isolation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so, you know, we're all working remotely. It's. Do you know what? We're very lucky in some respects to have so much technology at our hands and feet at the moment, because we can just use it. We can still see each other.
Yep.
It's just virtually.
I mean, we'd have been screwed if we tried this in the 90s, surely.
No, people really would be climbing the walls.
Very much so. But like I say, we will keep you updated on what we do. Obviously, we're not going to do theatrical stuff until the cinemas reopen, but a conservative estimate for that at the moment puts it at the earliest mid-May, realistically early June, and that's like as of today, so that could shift. So many release dates, so many films pulled for good reason, for understandable reason. Fast 9, No Time to Die, Peter Rabbit 2, that's a curse or a blessing, depending on who you ask. New Mutants, the most cursed film that doesn't involve Terry Gilliam, has been shelved again. There's rumours that one might go to Disney Plus. Trolls World Tour is going to evidently skip theatrical now and just go to premium video on demand. As you pointed out, Universal are releasing a bunch of their recent releases on premium VOD. The Hunt, Emma, The Invisible Man, which I'll be really honest, I'll pay 20 quid to watch at home for 2 days.
Yeah, and actually next week we do have a movie that was due out in the cinemas called Vivarium.
Ah, yes.
And that is actually on the 27th of March. It's actually going to be available on all digital platforms. So they've managed to diversify there and give us that option as well. So maybe we'll bring you that one as a review.
That sounds fun. I've been looking forward to Vivarium as well. It's Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Looks like my kind of Black Mirror-like tale. But like I say, just because the world is temporarily on hiatus does not mean it's ending, and there's always entertainment to go around. So, that's what we're here for. So, on which note, I guess, on with the show?
On with the show.
And now it's time for a segment we like to call Off Screen Pays the Bills. Hi, Becks.
Oh, hi, Van. Bill time already?
As always, never anything going on but the rent, Miss Perfect. You know that. So
I know that.
We need to thank our sponsors for the week. Endurance, who offer vehicle protection plans. They cover and shield drivers across the US from the high costs of auto repairs. You've been there. I've been there. We've all had those times.
I know. I've got a little bit of an old banger that just always needs a little bit of care and attention every now and again. But, we do what we can.
Is this your beloved Beetle, is it?
Jeremy Beetle, yes.
Jeremy Beetle. Oh, well, Endurance, though, they pay mechanics directly for all your parts and your labour, and they save you the hassle of dealing with it and playing with the middleman. They are rated the #1 vehicle protection company by Consumer Affairs. They offer the best customer service in the industry. They stay with their customers from pretty much beginning to end. Like I say, we've been there. We've all had our moments. I've had some significant car trouble recently, but wasn't covered, and because I am a fool, obviously. Find out more information about Endurance's vehicle protection plans by visiting endurancenow.com/offscreen. And remember, insurance plus endurance equals total protection.
Never has movies on TV been more needed. And good job that we are bringing you movies for every single day of the week. And we're going to kick off with probably something that I think might actually fit into a lot of people's diaries for over the next 9 months.
God.
Yeah, I know. What else have people got to do but get knocked up?
Exactly. It's so weird. We're going to have a wave of babies who we're going to call Corona babies, who are all conceived during the next month. There's going to be a birth rate surge. But yeah, this is the 2007 Judd Apatow written and directed comedy that pretty much made Seth Rogen, didn't it? This is the film that solidified him. Also,
popularity to the forefront, didn't it? I mean, who could forget that laugh?
Oh God, I know. I mean, I loved him for The 40-Year-Old Virgin 2 years earlier, but he was a very supporting character in that. Here, he's sort of lifted up to the limelight a little bit, alongside Katherine Heigl. They are a couple in their early 20s. For some reason, Seth Rogen is meant to be 23. in
Wow.
this. I know, as
Really?
weird as it sounds, I know. But he wasn't far off at the time.
No.
So, One
Most
Night
people
Stand.
have seen this. Yeah, most people will have seen this. And
Yeah.
the thing is that it's a great film to revisit again and again and again. It kind of never dates within itself. So, as you say, One Night Stand, she ends up getting pregnant. They're not the kind of typical coupling. And they end up, making it work. And I think it's quite a nice sort of story at the end of it. Very funny, great performances. And it's on ITV2 at 10:45.
So I have something that I really need to tell you. Is kind of why I called you. Here goes. I'm pregnant.
Off.
What?
What?
I'm pregnant?
With emotion?
With a baby. You're the father.
I'm the father.
Yes.
How the this happen?
I don't know. I mean, I thought you were wearing a condom.
No,
What?
I wasn't.
Why not?
Because you told me not to.
What are you talking about?
Rogan and Heigl there. Did you know it was Anne Hathaway originally?
Really? I couldn't have imagined it with that.
Apparently she objected to the proposed realistic depiction of the birth. That was apparently a thing.
Of course.
Deal
But yet
breaker.
she did that terrible film with Matthew McConaughey.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Over to Sunday, what you got for me?
Okay, I've got Maiden Dagenham for you on BBC One at 10:30 p.m. Now, interestingly, we saw a movie recently which
Yes.
reminded us of this, which was Misbehaviour. That kind of look and feel and tone
Yeah.
of a great British movie, but doesn't quite get to that kind of iconic standard. Now, this is Gemma Arterton and a whole host of stalwart British actors and actresses in this. And
what's her name? From The Shape of Water. Who is the Oscar
Sally
winner?
Hawkins.
Thank you. Why was I
Yeah.
going to say Sally Phillips? What is wrong with me? Sally Hawkins.
Sally Hawkins.
Sally Hawkins. So, Maiden Dagenham. I've got a clip for you of the striking female workers of, I think it's the Ford plant in Dagenham, isn't it?
Yep.
Being visited by a prominent female politician.
Return to work. Go back to your machines. And you have my word, I will push forward with your fight.
No.
Mrs. O'Grady.
No, we need something solid. Something now. You've got the authority. We thought seeing you, we'd...
In politics, you sometimes have to play the long
We
game.
ain't politicians, we're working women. And so are you.
It's just fun, isn't it? Sally Hawkins really sells it.
Do you know what? It is a really good movie. I think that our expectations of things that really sit in people's minds for a British movie, and this was my kind of issue with Misbehaviour, was that it is good, it's watchable, it's fun, but does it make you want to watch it again and again and again? I'm not so sure, but I'm happy after however many years to actually revisit it this week and just sit and watch, because it is a feel-good film. You learn something a little bit about our past as well, and the workforce in, was it the 60s? I think it was.
I think it was the late 60s.
Yeah, late 60s. And it's just an interesting story about our sort of a certain time in British history. So interesting to watch. That is on BBC One, as we said before, at 10:30 p.m. Quite a late one for that on Sunday.
Well, I figured they just assume that people aren't going to be getting up early and going into work for the next. Because a lot of our films are quite late evening ones this week. So I presume the TV schedulers are just banking on people having a lay-in every morning.
Absolutely. Now,
And
listen,
why not?
this next one on Monday, you can talk about this, but this is definitely needs to be late night watching.
It does, and I'll be honest, every time I've watched it, I've needed to lay in afterwards as well. So it is, of course, the 1998 erotic thriller starring Denise Richards, Nev Campbell, Matt Dillon, and only Kevin Bacon. It's Wild Things, in which a high school girl accuses a teacher, played by Matt Dillon, of inappropriate sexual conduct, let's just say. And this starts an investigation that quickly raises questions of who's telling the truth, who's fibbing, and who's really playing who. Have a little snippet of this.
Maybe there's no physical evidence because nothing happened. You want my gut? There it is. I think she's acting. I think she set it up to be alone with him so that he could come on to her. She's upset because he didn't.
Maybe she set it up that way, maybe not. I mean, if you ask me, the guy never should have had her out there in the first place, period.
Gloria, the line I have on this guy, he's done half the women in Blue Bay.
That doesn't make him a rapist.
So those are the cops there, led by Kevin Bacon and Cyrus Bean from Scandal. I didn't
Wow.
remember he was in this, but
I mean,
worth checking out.
This is just every teenage boy's like naughty film that they will have watched and told their mates about.
It is, and there is that one scene, and you
That
know
one
which
scene.
one. There's two
Everyone
scenes.
knows that scene.
Everyone knows those two scenes, and I was 15 when this came out, and it was the most popular thing
time
at
for
school.
you.
Yeah, exactly. So over to Tuesday. Oh, hang on, Wild Things is 10:45 on 5-Star on Monday.
Yes, it is.
Let's go to Tuesday then. ITV4 at 9 p.m. Take it away, Miss Perfect.
Well, it's Mel Gibson in one of his finest films. I love this film. This is Ransom, ITV4, 9 o'clock. I mean, Mel Gibson. I just watched a snippet of him in Braveheart, actually, just recently. And you forget, with all the controversy about Mel Gibson, actually, he's really good at what he does.
Mel Gibson's a damn good actor.
Such a good actor. But, you know, this is what, 1995? I'm going to have a quick look at this.
97 or 1997 for Ransom.
Oh, it doesn't quite
95
hit
for
out.
Braveheart.
There we go. It doesn't Ransom doesn't quite hit our optimum 90s.
I think he did Conspiracy Theory in between, where like Patrick Stewart was the bad guy. That was in between.
But this is just a fantastic film that I suppose it doesn't like just put him on the map, but he was already on the map, but it just kind of secures him as that Hollywood A-lister.
Well, it's a solid, you know, for the adults, Ron Howard thriller, isn't it? I mean, the basic premise: he's a billionaire airline, owner who's a slash pilot whose son is kidnapped by an evil cop played by Gary Sinise, who demands a ransom, and of course, Mel Gibson takes it in the direction of this clip.
The whole world now knows my son Sean Mullen was kidnapped for ransom 3 days ago. And this? Well, this is what waits for the man that took him. This is your ransom.
Wait, I want to see this.
$2 million in unmarked bills, just like you wanted. But this is as close as you'll ever get to it. You'll never see $1 of this money. Because no ransom will ever be paid for my son. Not one dime, not one penny. Instead, I'm offering this money as a reward on your head.
Good moment there, and that kind of was the trailer, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was indeed. Now, next up, what we've got. So that was the Ransom. If anyone didn't catch it, is on ITV4 at 9 o'clock. Now, Wednesday, middle of the week, The Taking of Pelham 123 on Sony Channel at 9 o'clock. I don't think I've seen this. I've had a look at what it's all about, but I don't think I've ever watched this, so this is definitely on my list.
You know, it's the remake and not the original, because we always have to check that one. So the original, Walter Matthau and Robert Shaw from Jaws. The remake, Travolta's the villain.
Remake. Yep.
Sorry, the 2009 remake, Travolta's the villain. Denzel is the good guy, tasked with sort of talking him down. And James Gandolfini, the late James Gandolfini, is one of his final performances. And it's directed by none other than the late, great Tony Scott. Hostage situation on the New York subway by John Travolta, who is introed in this movie by the camera sort of following him across a crowded street, freeze framing on him, and then playing a very specific lyric from Jay-Z's 99 Problems. All I'm going to say, that is the reason to see the film. There's no clip. That reason is enough.
I thought you'd say that the reason to watch it is John Travolta's very, I'd say, 90s-esque sunglasses that he wears as part of the poster.
He goes more 90s in this than he did in Swordfish, and they actually made that in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. This is 2009, people. But hey, those glasses and that goatee is something else.
Yeah, very much so. So over to Thursday, and we're going a bit topical with this one. I was waiting for this movie to turn up on TV, and it has. ITV2, 9 p.m. on Thursday. It's Steven Soderbergh's 2011 and newly financially successful film, Contagion, for which sales have now shot through the roof, apparently.
Funny, because that strapline is nothing spreads like fear. It's interesting. This is all about healthcare professionals, government officials, and everyday people that find themselves in the midst of a pandemic and looking to find a cure. I mean, could it be more topical as we're shutting ourselves away from outside life?
Exactly. Now, you tell me if any of this clip sounds familiar.
There are stories circulating on the internet that in India and elsewhere, the drug ribavirin has been shown to be effective against this virus. Yet, Homeland Security is telling the CDC not to make any announcements until stockpiles of the drug can be secured.
Well, Dr. Gupta, there continue to be evaluations of several drugs. Ribavirin is among them. But right now, our best defense has been social distancing. No handshaking, staying home when you're sick, washing your hands frequently.
Can you tell us to date how many people have died from this virus?
Very difficult. We're still working on confirming that number. There are 50 different states in this country, which means there are 50 different health departments, followed by 50 different protocols.
Reminder, they released this 9 years ago. And they're talking about the same thing, social distancing, wash your hands, all that stuff. It was properly researched at the time. There's a whole Twitter thread by the writer about, going and researching it and the insight it gave him into our current situation. Great cast, though. Matt Damon, Jude Law,
Kate Winslet,
Lawrence Fishburne as well. Really good movie. Oh, Gwyneth is in there briefly.
Yeah.
And worth seeing. I think it's one of the more terrifying virus films.
Worth seeing if you've not got a current anxiety about the pandemic that's happening right here, because I don't think this will do anything for your stress levels if you do watch it and you are nervous as to how we are at the moment. So but that's just a nice sort of, neighbourly kind of message for you all out there.
From your Uncle Van and your Auntie Becks right there.
There we go.
So how are we going to finish off the week, Miss Perfect?
Well, I think we should finish it off with a little bit of force.
A little bit of the force. Sleepy force, waking up force.
Maybe a little waking
lethargic
up
force.
Awakening. Yeah, we'll wake it up. Yeah.
Wake it up. Okay, so Star Wars The Force Awakens is on ITV on Friday night at 7:30, which is good because I don't think they'll have soaps to fill the evening with. And what's better than a 2015 J.J. Abrams Star Wars movie? This thing kicked ass.
Do you know what? Out of the three, it's three that we've had since, isn't it? It's that one.
Three episodes.
Three episodes. Yeah, we've had 3 episodes since. This is by far my favourite. This had everything you wanted from it, from the nostalgia through to the brilliant effects. The fact that they kept the practical effects in this. This is the one that delivered when the hype was going mental for it.
The flooding tunnel's over that ridge. We'll get in that way.
What was your job when you were based here?
Sanitation.
Sanitation? Then how do you know how to disable the shields?
I don't. I'm just here to get Ray.
People are counting on us. The galaxy is counting on us.
Solo, we'll figure it out. We'll use the Force.
That's not how the Force works. Oh, really? You're cold?
Come on.
And of course you had Han Solo and John Boyega and Daisy Ridley and Carrie Fisher, and it was great to see the mixture of the old and the new, and it kind of worked. And people complain that it's a bit remakey of Episode 4, but I don't particularly mind that because it's a reboot, cool, and it's a very good one. It's a very well made one.
It is indeed. And do you know what? I think people are always going to find potholes in it somewhere or other. And actually, do you know what, guys? Just enjoy it for what it is. It's a great movie. It can never be the originals, but it made a damn good go at it.
And it's a hell of a way to finish off the week. And we're back, and this time we're going to keep you on that couch because you've got no other options for your entertainment. So we really don't have much in the way of choice.
I mean, if you've got multiple couches, you can always move.
Well, we have 2. I mean, technically, I can shift position in the living room, I suppose, if I need to. But let's talk about DVD and Blu-ray for this week. And there is a film coming that I've been really looking forward to seeing again. I haven't seen it since the London Film Festival. It's out on DVD and on Blu-ray and on demand from Monday the 23rd. And that is, of course, Le Mans 66, as we call it. Ford v Ferrari, as everyone else calls it. So, did you have the pleasure of this?
I did indeed. Matt Damon and Christian Bale, and also Katrina Balfe as well, which people recognise from Outlander, is also in this as well. Yeah, that is who she is.
Sorry, my mum watches Outlander. I don't. I know what's his name was in Bloodshot. My mum got very excited about that's it.
Yeah. I'm a big fan.
You're a big fan.
I love Outlander. In fact, I've just rewatched it all over again. It was I've got that much time on my hands. So for Le Mans 66, this is a movie which I was sure was going to go and do really well at the Oscars.
Yes, I thought so too.
Season. It's got a bit of everything in there. It's got great effects. Some of the best driving sequences that I've seen in a long time in the movies on this. So it's a story. It's a true story of well, Matt Damon's character, I suppose he runs
Carol Shelby, the designer.
Yeah, a designer who runs his own kind of outfit that sort of designs all of these amazing cars. He ends up working for Ford as they are wanting to compete in the 24-hour Le Mans race
in 1966, as the clever title hints for us.
And Christian Bale plays his best driver.
Ken
Miles, that's it. And it's really a story of their relationship, how they, as friends, how they end up, progressing throughout this sort of lead up to the big race, and ultimately what happens after it as well. I think it's such an interesting movie. It's brilliantly acted. There's so many good things about this that I am quite shocked that it didn't really pick up much across the board at award season.
Let's have a little snippet.
You can stick this bloody sticker where the sun.
Hey, Bill. Hey, Bill, what seems to be the problem, Bill?
Well, the problem is that Bill here is a
No, he doesn't mean that.
No, yes, he does.
No,
yes,
he
he does.
doesn't
Yes,
mean
no,
that.
he
He's just
really
fooling
does
with you,
think
Bill.
that
He's just
Bill
fooling with
is a.
I'm
just doing my job here.
Bill, in my experience, listen to me, something like this, there's always a middle ground. All right, now Ken's out of line.
And I'm just doing my job.
I understand you are. You know how he gets on a race day. You know that, all right? But you're not going to DQ us over at Trump.
Christian Bale's accent, man, I love him in this movie. Oh, cheese cob and a sausage roll.
I did wonder whether or not he almost went to Dick Van Dyke with it.
Oh, everyone loved it, though. Everyone had their own guess where he was meant to be from. It was great.
Yeah, because Katrina Balfe, she's got very much. I think she's sort of northern, isn't she? Manchester.
So,
yeah, it's kind of that. But anyway,
it's written and directed by James Mangold. I don't think written by James Mangold, who gave us 3:10 to Yuma with Christian Bale, gave us the last two Wolverine movies, the later of which was obviously very impressive. Worth checking out. There's got some great driving sequences in this, some really fantastic sequences. I saw it on an IMAX screen. I can't recommend that highly enough. But if you've got the monolithic TV in the living room and you're running out for toilet paper on Monday, check it out on the DVD shelf in Tesco. I can't recommend it highly enough. Or Blu-ray shelf if you've got the monolithic TV. Don't sell yourself short. But DVD heaven right there. I can't recommend it highly enough.
Right there. Yeah.
Over to streaming then, and we've got one new addition that's worth pointing out, and that is the somewhat controversial new action film starring Daniel Radcliffe. It's called Guns Akimbo. It's available on Amazon Prime from Monday the 23rd as well, in which a sort of feckless computer programmer, nerd, dweeb, kind of, nothing type, is rendered unconscious and wakes up to find he has a gun bolted through each of his hands, and he is being hunted to the death in an online streaming, deathmatch game. It's actually bonkers. I had the pleasure of watching this. It's a lot like Crank at times, which, as you know, I'm a very big fan of. Daniel Radcliffe gets to rock some truly amazing fuzzy slippers, like big bear claw slippers, the entire way through. Can't recommend it highly enough. If you're looking for a new way to see Daniel Radcliffe, can't recommend this.
I can't believe he's doing this.
He's a very strange man, Daniel Radcliffe. I adore
Well, I
him.
think he's just trying to diversify so much
He really is.
with everything to be like. He's like, get rid of Harry Potter as much as you can.
Yeah.
And he's doing all these bonkers things. But hey, all power to him.
As I say, we don't really have much otherwise to sort of talk about. So luckily, you've probably got some of these lists made, and so have I. We've got some films we can recommend that are on Amazon Prime and Netflix. Shall I go through a few and then you go through a few?
Yeah.
So I've got some picks for Amazon Prime. Films I think are worth checking out. Now, obviously, I'm never going to turn down a chance to pimp Snowpiercer. Like, that film is my baby. Watch Snowpiercer. It's so great. The Disaster Artist is on Amazon Prime now. With,
great.
James Franco. I love that movie. So much awful fun. Guns Akimbo we talked about. Midsummer is on Amazon Prime now.
Is it?
Yes. Now, we
Wow.
both loved that, didn't we?
Yeah, and do you know what, guys? If you ever just need to be disturbed a little bit more than what we're seeing in the world right now, you probably want to go and watch Midsummer.
That was the one you sent your BBC staff to see, wasn't
I didn't
it?
send anyone to see it. I thought they were going to watch Toy Story, and they ended up watching Midsummer, and they've been painted by it ever since, shall we say.
Also on Prime, Booksmart. We both quite like Booksmart.
Love Booksmart.
If you're saddened about having to wait for a new Saw movie, I'll give you the movie that kind of gave us the Saw movies, and that's Cube, a forgotten late 90s sci-fi horror film that has relatively the same setup, but it's a bit more sci-fi. And because you and I have to have a mid-90s comedy, between us every now and again, I've got one for Netflix, but for Amazon Prime, we've got Empire Records. What do you think?
Oh, one of my favourites, and also one of my favourite soundtracks of all time as well.
Bit of Edwin Collins on there.
Yeah, it's brilliant. But Renee Zellweger, we've got Liv Tyler in that as well. We've got, I can't remember his name, but he's the cool rider from Grease 2, isn't it?
Oh, God, yeah.
And he plays Rexy, baby.
Oh, Rex Manning.
Rex Manning. He's Rexy. You're so sexy. So it's great to kind of see all of those amazing actors. It's one of the best teen movies I think I've ever watched, and it's up there as one of my favourites. I might go and rewatch that tonight, to be honest.
There you go. Well, we will rival it with the Netflix equivalent, but I'll just go through the short list I have here. I have Fighting with My Family is on Netflix.
Love that movie.
Love that. Anyone wanting a good action movie that they will have missed on theatrical, because everybody did, The Raid Redemption and its sequel, Berandal, The Raid 2, are on Netflix. I believe it is in the original Indonesian with the subtitles, which is the best way to view it. Some of the best action scenes you will ever see in a movie. Long Shots with Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron.
Yeah, I didn't love that one, but
it's fine though, isn't it? It's quite a decent little rom-com in and of itself.
It is. To be honest, it lost my attention a bit, but it might be for you guys, just not for me.
Death of Stalin for anyone who wanted David Copperfield to be a bit funnier. There's that on there. I've got the Alicia Vikander Tomb Raider reboot, which I
quite like that.
I quite like that as well too. Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate on this one because I think for its designated task, it did very well. It's a somewhat limited task, admittedly. It is, of course, Michael Bay's Six Underground, which I can't recommend highly enough for anyone drunk off their asses and just wanting to consume pizza with Ryan Reynolds. Yay!
Call in that pizza.
And finally, because like I say, we need a 90s comedy, because it's you and I, Clueless is the new addition to Netflix. What's not to love?
What is not to love?
Exactly.
Do you know what? I'm just going to give you a couple more additions to that. I'll keep it short and sweet.
Go for it. What you got for me?
I've got for you horror fans out there, It is
Chapter
literally
1, isn't it?
It Chapter 1 is out there on Netflix. It's one of the top in the UK trending at the moment as well.
Oh, nice.
So worth watching that. It's a fantastic remake if you haven't seen the original in quite some time. I think it's definitely worth a watch. Just make sure you haven't got the kids around if you do that. Yeah. And then also due out this week originally was the cinematic release of A Quiet Place 2. And unfortunately that obviously with everything else got pulled and delayed. And Netflix in the lead up to that actually released A Quiet Place. So if you haven't seen that before, it's a very, very quiet film. It's brilliantly done. Emily Blunt, John Krasinski, monsters that can hear but can't see, and it's a very good tension builder, I think, that movie is.
It really is. I mean, turn the lights off, draw the curtains, put the microphone.
Don't be sleepy whilst you're watching it.
No. It's an amazing movie, though. And I'll tell you something, you will hate anybody that makes a sound during.
Yes, 100%. But there you go. Those are two of my recommendations to go with that long list from Van as well.
So I think this has just been a relatively breezy cut down week for off screen. I mean, we'll see what we can come back with, for future episodes until the cinemas reopen. But you know what? At least we've got Freeview streaming and DVD. In the meanwhile, we will have. There are films like Vivarium, so we will see films that are diversifying to go straight onto video on demand. As we can do that, we'll see if we can bring you reviews of all of those as we go along. But for the time being, who have you been, Van? I've been Van Connor.
And I've been Becks Perfect. And this has been Offscreen, your 7-day guide to everything movies. Thanks so much for listening. Stay safe, people. Stay well. And we'll be back with you very soon.